Live and on the air. Get your fish on and Mr. Bass.
Another Wednesday night.
Another Wednesday night. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing?
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Date. What does that mean?
No idea. Now you're saying, I mean. Booster's gonna, all of Booster's posts tonight are gonna be 1 or 2 words long. And you're gonna have to figure out his cryptic.
It's gonna be cryptic. He's gonna do 2 words, and it's gonna create one long sentence at the end of the day.
Yeah, one long sentence by the time the 2 hours has gone by.
What up, Matthew?
Booster is very creative.
Did you have Matthew on your show on Sunday night?
Yes, I did. All right, we got a special guest on tonight.
Yes.
And he's on now. I see him. The one and only Edwin Evers. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Hello, let me fix the overlay.
Hey, dude! Just go like this, Edwin.
Man, maybe our template's messed up here.
Oh. Maybe. I don't even.
Oh, wait. I have an idea. There we go.
Yeah,
now
make you the big one.
We got it. Perfect.
You and I upside down.
Yeah.
How's it going, dude?
Good. How's it going with you guys? Tackle.
Great. I saw a post today on Instagram. It looked like you weren't having the best of days.
Yeah, I had a great day. I got stuck. I'm taking the blame for it. It's actually somebody else driving my pickup truck, and I had just got out, and I said, "Hey, right down through here is a 3-foot ditch. Follow me. Don't drive to the right." I drive on down the hill, get out looking for my buddy, and he drove 10 foot more and literally parked the truck like this. These 2 left wheels, you could just spin them. They're both.
I saw that. Yeah. Crazy.
How long did that take to get out?
Well, it was about 8 or 9 miles back to the farm where I had a tractor, and I went back to the farm. I didn't have a key to get in the shop, so I had to go all the way back to my buddy to get the key to get in it, then go all the way back. And it took a while. I took a tractor up there, and you don't travel very fast in a tractor. And we lifted it up with the tractor and poked a bunch of rocks and dirt underneath it, and we got it out.
Oh,
that sounds. That's the best part.
Yeah, that sounds like. Have you ever heard when Ott dropped in over at Patrick Sabile's house?
No, what happened?
Patrick tells everybody, is the pond in the backyard, and it's where the Florida largemouth, the Florida record bass was pulled out of the pond. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, he got stuck.
Stuck.
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah, I remember that. That was bad.
And they didn't catch any fish either.
No, it was really bad.
So how you been, man?
Been really good. Super good. Been super busy, but doing really, really good. Just literally every day that I've been not fishing the tournament has been spoken for one sponsor or another, or filming purposes, trying to keep ahead of the monster that we're trying to feed with that YouTube channel.
Heck yeah, that YouTube channel of yours is really taking some legs.
It's a lot of work, but I love it. I'm having a lot of fun getting to meet some great people, getting some other people on the channel here recently, and got some more coming down the pipeline that I'm super excited about. But it's thank you. I appreciate you saying that. We're working really hard on it.
Go ahead.
We've really been impressed with it. In fact, I've been telling the guys here on the channel that they need to go over and watch you, because of all the pro channels out there, and more and more of the pro fishermen are trying to become YouTubers as well. Some are better than others, but your channel is so well put together, and you're one of the best teachers, I think, out there. I mean, as far as I've been telling guys, if you want to really learn about the techniques of fishing, how to fish, and things of that nature, man, your channel is just excellent. It really, really is.
Thank you so much. And I'm super fortunate that I've got become a great friend of mine. Him and his wife both. Chris Neal, his wife Joseline. They're just awesome people that I truly enjoy hanging out with because I spend a lot of time with him, and he's ended up being a great friend. But he's a phenomenal behind that camera.
Yeah, that really helps.
Yeah.
I remember just recently you were talking to Jimmy Houston next to me, and he was like, I'm going to bring you in and we're going to do this collab because I need you at 100,000. And the channel's growing like unbelievable. It's ridiculous.
It is growing. Nothing's as fast as I would like it to be, but I didn't start out with anything, and it's about a year and a half old, and I think we just got over 50,000. So, I feel like as long as I'm having fun and I'm helping a lot of people, a lot of the comments are really enjoyable to read, and the emails I get just all the time. Just today, I got a super one that was really great from a 68-year-old gentleman that caught a big bass, and he was super thankful. So, as long as I'm getting that stuff, I really don't care about the subscribers. I think people are enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. So for people who don't know, tell us how you got introduced into the outdoors. I'm moving this.
It's really kind of weird. I just fished a lot of ponds. I'd leave the house and I'd walk the ponds growing up, and I got ate up with it as a kid. My mom took me the first couple times. I actually stopped off at the place where I caught my first 2 fish on the way back from St. Clair. It's about an hour north of St. Louis, little bitty town, Clarksville, Missouri. And there's a bridge across the slough off the Mississippi River. And I was there visiting my uncle. And I was like, man, let's just drive down there before I leave just to bring back some memories. I hadn't been there in 30, 40 years. And, but anyway, long story short, my mom took me the first few times. They just always supported me. Actually, the first guy that I ever really fished a lot of bass fishing with was a guy that lives out in West Texas. His name's Gary Powell, and he was the inventor of a one-man boat that you propel around with swim fins. And I fished many years out of that. He ended up giving me one, and that's really how I got started. In a small one-man boat that you propelled with swim fins, and just kept running with it. Went to college, and the college I picked had a lake next to it. That was the reason I went there, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's cool. That is really cool.
That is cool.
One thing I noticed on your channel that you started doing are like these kind of cameo appearances, interviews of other pro fishermen and other key people in the industry. Man, those are really great. What led to that?
I think it was just I filmed with Ott, and I wanted to ask him, about how he got started, because I had some comments on the channel. They're always asking like how to become a pro fisherman or how did you get to where you're at. And I thought, well, what better way than to, ask Steve or you're doing something in the industry, and how did you get to where you're at? Because there's a lot of people that want to work and live in the industry that may not be tournament anglers. And then there's lots of young kids that want to know how everyone got to where they're at. And that was just the premise behind it, just trying to answer questions. Some of my best content is always coming up. I can see right here, we're getting questions tonight. The best content I have on my channel is just reading those comments. Today I got some great suggestions for future videos. So that's how it came about, truly.
You mentioned something about how of people starting out and becoming a professional angler, and recently I listened to a podcast, and in the podcast the person said YouTubers will never be professional anglers. They'll never be able to do it. And professional anglers want to be YouTubers, and obviously it can work. What does it take to be a professional angler? I mean, other than getting sponsors, what if you had to tell someone that was just starting in the industry, is in college now, and says, I want to do what you're doing? What would you say to them?
You better have a lot of thick skin. You better be able to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, live on next to nothing. I mean, nothing. Like I would never be sitting here talking to you if I would have been married, because there's no way I could have put a wife through how I lived, because I lived as bare as you could possibly be to make it. And the other thing is you got to be pretty stubborn, and you got to believe in yourself, because it's a long road. It's a big hill to climb. You know, there's a few guys that have had instant success, you know, in their careers, but it still took them, you know, probably a bumpy road to get to even to the top level. But it doesn't happen overnight for very many people. And you know, you got to take. It's kind of the school of hard knocks. You get kicked around, and you're at the bottom of the basement for a long time, and then you just finally it all starts clicking for you.
It's tough.
Yes, sir.
It really is tough. People don't. I think you know you can be a great angler and go out there and catch fish anywhere, but the problem is that when money's on the line, it's if that's Ken Duke telling me he has to do it. Cousin Ken ain't allowed to bother us. It's tough to make that transition, and people don't realize there's a lot of guys out there that just break even, and it is tough.
It is tough. There's no doubt about it. But you know, it was really tough. But all through it all, I loved every minute of it. You know,
Yeah.
There was times that I doubted a little bit and had some doubt creep in and you know I was at a point of you know in 2002 about you know thinking about quitting and you know it kind of all turned around one night at a focus meeting. It's kind of my testimony if you guys ever listen to it somewhere. But you know the next day I caught the biggest stringer in that tournament and it really answered my prayer the day before because I was so tired of struggling and I had $35 to get home and I didn't know what I was going to do because I was in 100 and something place after that day and I was super nervous and then I ended up catching the biggest stringer of the tournament in this most obscure spot and got a big check and never looked back ever since after that day. So
I love it.
Hey, Edwin, how about Frankie's question here? What about if you're a co-angler and you're not in college and you're in your 30s and 40s and you want to do something in the industry as in becoming a pro angler or a co?
Well, man, I think first of all, Frankie, you're on the right path because I've always told people I feel like the fastest way to the top is kind of the Justin Lucas model. He was a co-angler for a long time and he learned off multiple anglers and by doing that, I just think your learning curve is more like this. And so, you know, Frankie's already a step ahead. He's being a co-angler right now. Learn off anybody and everybody you can. And it doesn't, you don't have to be 20, 25, 30 years old. You know, Matt Reed's a good buddy of mine's made a living in bass fishing. And, you know, he really didn't hit the trail till he was well up in his 40s. So, you know, it's definitely possible. I would have success locally and then take it to the next level and just use those stair steps for whatever program or tournament organization you're with and, you know, try to progress through.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so in the last few years, electronics has been insane. I know you're with Lawrence. With all these new kids and Jacob and all these guys putting a lot of time in on electronics over the last few years, did you have to go back and look at it during an off season and say, I need to figure this out?
100% that active target. You know, Lawrence was a year or two behind. They had it in development. I'd heard about it for 5 or 6 years ago and saw bits and pieces of it. But, you know, they were a little behind in bringing out the product that they have right now. So, absolutely, I spend every day on the water as soon as I had it, as much as I could. And still to this day, I am learning about it. And no, I think what really separates some of the best anglers out there and some of the just anglers is the best anglers realize that, man, they probably really don't know much and there's always more to learn. And I hope that I can always present myself that way because at times I'm out there fishing and I feel like I don't know very much. And I also know that I have a lot to learn. So it's a sport that we learn more and more about every day. And that's one thing I love about it.
Well, it's kind of interesting that you say that you kind of wonder about I don't know anything or anything like that, because if you look at your record, you know, been at it 23 years, 13 wins, 2 world championships, 119 top 20 finishes, an AOY, $3.7 million worth of winnings. One of only 5 professional fishermen that have ever earned over $3 million. One of only 5 in the entire universe.
Here comes the loan question, Edwin.
That is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And, a lot of people would look at you and say, well, geez, he's achieved everything. What keeps you going?
The competition, right now I'm pretty competitive about this YouTube. I want it to succeed. So I'm pouring a lot of my heart and soul into that. But by no means am I done with bass fishing. The tournaments, I can't wait for next season. Having a rough season this year that I feel like was not near what I expected myself. I plan to go look at some of these bodies of water that we're going to next year prior to the off limits. And I'm going to definitely hit this year a lot harder than I did this previous year. Just, I got kind of got off on the side with that YouTube, and I let it kind of creep up on me. And where I was like trying to get something done for the next Tuesday and the next Thursday. And I plan to get way ahead to have content a month or two in advance to where I can put more of my focus on the tournament trail. But, back to your original question, I truly love the competition aspect of it.
Looking at next year is like the schedule is really no Florida. What are you?
I'm sorry, Steve. I love that.
I know that. I know you hate Florida. I wasn't going to ask that.
I have one down there now, and I've had some decent events, but I've had my worst events ever down there too.
Yeah. Well, the last time you were down here, I was like, I so badly wanted to. Like, I read the article on what you were going to do, and Ken and I are on the phone, and I'm like, should I call him and say, switch all of that? You're going to the wrong thing. And he's like, you can't do that. Yep. He'll figure it out. He's actually, I think Ken said, he's smarter than you. Don't mention anything to him. But looking at next year's schedule, really going to some different places next year for the first time. Yeah. How exciting is it to have those new areas, and have you already started looking at those spots?
I haven't been to them yet. You're speaking of Lake Darbone earlier in the year, Lake Forks earlier than we've ever been there. But no, I definitely am going to spend some time thinking about it. One thing I really like about it is I fish a lot in January and February here in Oklahoma. So some of that's going to translate down there to that area. It's not very far from the house, and I'm excited about it. There's going to be some good bodies of water that we're going to.
Did you have any input on where they go next year?
No, I'm not on that committee.
Oh, okay.
No.
So one of the listeners here asked a good question. For the normal boat angler, just fun fishing and can only afford either power poles or spot lock, where should they spend their money?
I would have to ask that question. Where do they live?
He's in Texas, I think.
He's in Texas. Wow. He better go spot lock. Yeah.
Okay.
Spot lock. Hey, we got to ask Caro, because I've had this question on social media a few times today, and I posted a little clip. I was having a boat, and I just want to see how fast it took to get to 60, because that's how they measure cars, 0 to 60 all the time.
Right.
And I put a time out there for it, but Caro, you're going to have to watch the video to see actually how fast it goes. And yes, it does go faster than 62.
Yeah,
it looks like you have they have some really cool new seats on those boats.
Oh, those seats are game changers. Yeah.
Do you get a new boat every year?
Yes, sir.
You do. God, that would be wonderful. Other than putting everything together in it.
Steve, I worked for it very hard.
I'm not saying that you don't. I love you. But man, that would be cool as hell.
Well, thank you.
Definitely would be.
Then you got to put tackle webs and all this stuff, and you got.
I do.
So I really wanted to ask you. You are, as I just talked about your record, you know how to win. You have won it all. What do you think about Jacob Wheeler the last couple of years?
Man, the guy's on fire. like truly on fire. He's just can't make any wrong decisions. Kind
It's
of
crazy.
something like like what we had with Kevin Van Dam. For many years. Kevin or Jacob's just
Yeah.
he's clicking on all cylinders and then some more. So he's doing really good.
What is it about like you or any of these anglers when you are really clicking on all cylinders? Is there, can you pinpoint it? Can you say, man, that's what's going on, or is it just
It's
kind of?
it all equates to be time on the water and confidence in your decisions and but other than those two things, there's not really any magical answer, magical pill, magical bait. Uh, he's ahead of the curve right now.
How do you start to go to Jacob and or watch what he's doing and go, I need to do this, or do you sit back and go, I'm going to figure this out, and he's just really lucky right now?
No, he's not lucky. Jacob's outworked a bunch of us the past few years. He was. I was amazed. We were at I think the St. Lawrence Seaway, and on one of the off days, he drove over and fished Champlain 4 hours away. Then comes back and fish. During the competition. So, the work ethic of the man is through the roof. So, that's something that not everybody's doing, and with him doing that, that just goes to show the success he's having.
Yeah.
I think it's really good for the sport and really good for the Bass Pro Tour that that's happening. Not to say that one guy should be winning so much, but I really think when a person, just like when KVD he was just on fire. I think it creates so much more interest to the average fan when they start hearing this guy won again. Can you believe it? That guy won again. And I really think it helps everybody because it really does stir up more interest in the sport overall. Not saying I want him to win every single one going forward, but it's pretty crazy.
He really is on a different level in some instances. I do know that, our friendship, I'm always like, oh, come on, Edwin, for the love of God. But then at the same time, you're like, oh, I'm happy for Jacob. Yeah, he's a friend too. But you have your favorites. Can we talk about the 2016 Classic and that final day? I mean,
Yeah.
you and Jason were at that time. You guys were traveling partners, weren't you?
Yes, sir. We were.
And he had 2 years in a row. I think was on fire at the Classic.
Yeah.
You get that last day, and you have this. What told you to make the move?
It was always in the back of my mind ever since I probably started in there the first day of practice. I'd have to go back and look at the information I wrote down about the practice, but I think it was the first day of practice. We had a sunny, kind of windy day, and it was just I went in there like super quick for an hour and a half. It was the very first morning. I think that's where I started my practice, and went through there, and I mean, I caught like a 7-something pounder in a whole nother location, but similar area like that, and saw 2 or 3 more, and caught another good one, and I got out super quick. And fishing your home body of water like that, you have a lot of stuff to try, and a lot of stuff to even try that you feel like is even better that maybe you don't even practice. And I went through a lot of that the first day and the second day. And, needless to say, where I started my practice the very first day was the best, and I thought I had other stuff that was better. And it obviously even, it was what better than I ever envisioned it could have been. And a lot of times I always tend to start tournaments where my practice ends, where I feel like, because I feel like a lot of times it changes so much from the first day of practice to the final day of practice to the first day of competition. So I want the most current bite, when I'm going to start that first morning, and that's really how I approach a lot of them. And it was pretty awesome in there, though. I got to tell you, when I got in there and water was clean and the wind was blowing, the next, after the wind blew that hard that day, probably the next day or the next day, it wasn't going to be that good in there because that place is super fickle. I mean, like we talked about the clear water and the wind, needing them to bite. But then if you have too much wind, it'll muddy it all up. Like it's like it changes day and night almost hourly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I remember you going through the circle, and Jason was in front of you, I think, in the final day. And I remember walking up to your boat as you came up and going, "Congratulations." And you were like, "Shut up."
It was hard because I remember sitting. They parked my boat right in front of his wife and his girls, and that was really hard because it still is hard for me to this day because I just have a lot of respect for him and especially his family.
Yeah.
Just to see the disappointment in his girls, and knowing how bad his family wants it, just as bad as my daughter and my son, but just to have to be parked in front of, your friend's family, that part of it sucked. It was just, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was a weird, it was weird. Everyone was just so excited. And at the same time, Jason is one of the best anglers of all time. And then, it is what it is. I remember just being very excited, and I felt that you were one of the favorites going into this. We all kind of felt like it was a 2-person race. It was you and Jason the whole week.
Right.
That's what we all kept saying. It's one of the 2 guys are going to win it. It's their home pond, and this is it for one. So everyone was really. It was just one of those amazing comebacks. It was just like, oh, it just made everyone happy, and it just made the whole day everyone was glued to watching that. Just like that Red Crest Championship. I hate to say it, when I was texting you in the middle of the day, congratulations, because I was like, this is the greatest couple hours. I remember watching you cast, and your fingers were cramping up.
They were. Yeah.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome. That was a great day.
That was a great day. Okay, dude.
One of the great things about modern pro fishing is that we get to see so much of it now, with all the TV coverage, which is really great. Booster was wondering who's your travel buddies right now? Do you have anybody you travel with, or?
Up to this year with Major League Fishing and the rules that, we really couldn't talk about fishing at all. Like there was nothing you could talk about once the practice started. And so I always stayed by myself. I didn't ever want to have an issue walking past a buddy's boat, seeing a bait tied on, and in the back of my mind the next day when he's on the score tracker and he's only got one bait on his rod or on his deck, I just that stuff bothered me. And so I've always traveled alone. But next year, Ott and Andy, we're all going to travel together some and spend some time together. So really looking forward to that. Those are two great guys.
Yeah, 2 great guys. When Major League Fishing, when the whole BPT thing started, had you ever seen more like people hot-headed over who was going where, and do you think it's gotten any better over 3 years?
Oh, I think it's gotten way better. I think there's a lot of drama, probably a lot of it self-inflicted through all that. At the end of the day, you want a place to work, you want a place that you can enjoy where you work, and that the payout is good, and to each his own, whatever the format it is. But I think things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah. It was a fun summer, though. I can tell you that.
You guys loved it. You guys loved all that.
Oh yeah, we loved it.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many people that were like on the fence. Who's going where? What's going to happen? And there were some people that were just upfront and I'm going here because of this. I'm staying here because of that. And it just the speculation was what made it fun. Now at the same time, there were people that really got their butts hurt because of it, and they came after you if they didn't agree with what you said. And to each his own. But sometimes sometimes you just got to go, okay, it's fishing, man. It's just fishing.
It is. And you know what I say to a lot of people when whatever it is, you don't ever know what that other person's life is like until you walk in their shoes, and you'll never know.
Exactly.
So, for everybody that made their own decisions, unless you walked in their shoes, you really have no business telling them where or what they should be doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Very true. Several years ago, quite a few years ago now, I was a marshal out at Table Rock Lake on an elite tournament.
Yeah.
And Brandon Polinick I was with, and he introduced me to glide baits. First time I'd ever seen one in action. And that day, he caught all of his fish on a jerk bait until he got his limit.
He's showing you glide baits, but he's using jerk baits. I'm marking that down just so you know.
Yeah.
The end of his story.
Yeah, he got his limit on jerk baits, and then he said, "Now it's time to go get my kicker fish." Right. And he broke out that Roman made negotiator, and he caught his 6-pound kicker, and he did great. Well, the BPT format, kind of, I don't see many guys throwing big baits, Right. And I was just curious, what's your strategy there? And do you still throw big swim baits, or you?
There's a time and a place for those. We just had an event for them. If we're on the Tennessee River at a certain time of the year, yes, those things are going to be a factor 100%. A lot of that has to do with the schedule. I mean, you look at some of our events, people would make the red crest if they just catch five at every event. All they have to do is catch 5 scoreable bass, 5 2-pounders. So whatever bait you need to throw to catch 5, throw that bait, because that's all it takes to make the red crest is on average is 5 fish per day, for the entire season. I know it was that way last year. I really hadn't looked at it this year much, but most generally speaking, that's all it takes. And a 2-pound minimum is a pretty decent fish anywhere you're at. It's a 15 or 15 and a half inch fish. So, to answer your question about big swim baits, there's a time and a place, and you'll see one tied on when I feel like that's the right time and place. Lake Fork in February could be the right bait. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, as far as a fun fisherman goes, you think he should waste time on big swim baits or just stick with other stuff?
They're fun. You make a lot more casts and maybe not get very many bites, but when you get a bite, it's fun.
It sure is.
2-pounder, and you're like, what the heck? My bait weighs 2 pounds, and a 2-pounder bites it. Yeah, but no, it's absolutely. Heck yeah, especially this time of year. This time of year where it's the time that some of that big stuff's, I've got 3 giant swim baits in my rod box right now for a fishing trip tomorrow. So
talk about practice. When you get to practice now, what are you looking for? Are you fishing at all, or are you just nowadays just using your electronics to try to find spots, or what goes on during your practice situation now?
It's different for every event. If it's a June event, offshore event, yes, I'm going to use electronics all day long. Don't really need to make a lot of casts if that's conducive to that. If they're offshore, but some of the events, like you go to the Mississippi River, you're not going to use your electronics at the Mississippi River. You're going to have to throw that frog in that slop or lily pads or whatever it may be. You can't find them with your electronics. So still to this day, no matter where, it just depends on the fishery. So, the fishery's conducive to a shallow water bite, you're going to be fishing your tail off for 2 days and covering as much water as you can and hopefully finding an area or a pattern that's got fish.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to get that pattern. That's the whole thing. Us normal, regular anglers are chucking everything in their mother at these fish, hoping for pure luck. That's what makes y'all so much better than us.
Just being on the water, I don't know that we're, it's just, I think we're too stupid to quit. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, well, so am I then.
On the St. Lawrence River, that tournament that you won there, you were throwing, one of the things you were throwing was a hair jig. Andy's hair jig, right?
Yep. Synthetic jig, yes, sir.
Yeah, synthetic jig. And I've talked with Andy and bought some of his jigs to fish the St. Lawrence, absolutely, because you caught them with the same bait. I was like, I got to get some of those. That's the the tackle salesman's dream. Get those guys buying that bait, and I have done it, hook, line, and sinker. But I was wondering, how often, as a pro fisherman, do you guys seek out and try to find special custom baits to use during the tournaments that maybe somebody else isn't throwing?
Yeah, I think that's different for each angler. I think there's some guys that maybe spend a lot of time. Fortunately for me, I'm with Berkeley, and man, I love everything they build, and I have confidence in it all. I'm smoking that peace pipe on that max scent for largemouth, smallmouth. I love that stuff. I've bought it hook, line, and sinker. So, for me, I'm not on Tackle Warehouse or Bass Pro Shops, looking at that stuff, Japanese websites, trying to find some hidden gem, because I feel like I've always tried to live by the adage, the wrong bait in the right place will catch them. And in my opinion, it's more about finding where those fish are at than having a, either a white crankbait or a sexy shad crankbait or a chartreuse and blackback. If I throw that crankbait where those fish are at, generally speaking, if there's 4 or 5 of them, they're going to compete for that bait coming through there, no matter what color it is. And I just always have tried to live by that. So I'm not sitting there trying to find the next gimmick, or not necessarily a gimmick. There's always new baits that come out that are important, but I'm going to have to be proven that they're important before I figure them out. I'll read about it or hear you guys talk about it somewhere.
Have you tried the new bucktails with the max scent inside the?
No, tell me, where can I get some?
Well, they're the power bait ones. You got some.
A bucktail jig?
It's that new power. They put the scent inside the max scent inside the jigs for Berkeley.
Oh, yeah. I've got some of the jigs. Well, I got like 3. They're not out yet, but I thought you said a bucktail jig. Jig with max scent in it.
Yeah. Have you fished those yet?
Oh, the jigs? No, I haven't.
No.
They look awesome. They smell awesome.
They smell awesome.
Yeah, they do.
They smell. They got the funk.
Them, they're behind on getting them to us, but I hadn't got them
yet. Yeah. I didn't mean it was a bucktail. It was a jig. I saw it at iCast, and then Bailey sent me some, and I just suck at fishing jigs is the problem. I don't even know why. I'm not confident with it, that and I see everybody else using them and they're confident with it. So I'm like, I should be doing more of this. Right. But confidence has a huge thing in how I fish. So, it is what it is.
Steve, you got to be confident in what you're doing. And I tell high school anglers all the time, if you're going to go to a body of water, don't sit there and listen to somebody tell you some wild goose chase. If it's something you've never done before, the one day of practice you have before that event is not the time to figure it out, or that morning of that event. Go fish your strengths, and to take that one step further. Look at Ott Defoe. He almost wins Angler of the Year this year, and his boat never gets deeper than 4 or 5 feet all year.
Yeah,
crazy.
Ott is really he's a good person, but he's really a good angler. He really is.
Yeah, he really
I was on the boat as a marshal that one, and he made me look stupid for one day. He was skipping docks, and I kept telling him, I said, I don't want to bust your chops, and I know you're on front of the boat, but I am the king of skipping docks. And there was an area about this big, and he skipped it in, and I said, okay, you mean everybody can do that once in a blue moon. He then switched hands and did it with his left hand. Oh, yeah. And then I said, okay, now you're just showing off. And he caught a fish in there too. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's awesome. Jeff Crete did that to me when I was fishing an open, man. That guy just flat wore me out the whole day. It was painful, very painful.
He's another great angler.
You're right about that max scent, though. I fished the St. Lawrence a couple of months ago on one of the Toyota Series tournaments, and the buddy and my practicing, we were both fishing flatworms. He had max scent, I did not, and again, I got whooped. I just couldn't believe. I could not believe it was crazy how well that max scent worked. So you're an insider. What's in that max scent? Come on, tell us.
Hey, they're so proud of that they don't even patent it, because they feel like if they patent it, I guess to make a patent, you have to tell people what's in it. So they are so confident that that will never be released. There's only 3 people in the world that know that formula, and they don't even patent it because it's that good. I don't know. No.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
What did you think of the April Fool's joke they did about saying they weren't gonna?
I was so mad. I had smoke coming out of my ears just to tell everybody what about it. Major League Fishing had made a statement that they were going to ban max scent. It was that good. They had us all on the phone, and the VP of Berkeley of marketing, John Schlossler, was behind it. And we got even with him, though. Let me just tell you a story how we got even with him. So we're at ICAST, and Berkeley wins this Best of Show bait, and John and the whole Berkeley booth is like on cloud 9, just ecstatic. And we get the ICAST director to come up to him, get him to the side, and tell him there'd been a miscount in the votes. Oh, you should have seen his face. It was the best thing ever. It was like redemption. And it got got so bad we had to let him know pretty quick. We couldn't let him ride with it very long. But he got us good, but we got him back.
Ken is taking complete credit for them winning with the Gilly.
Yep, I'm sure he would. Ken is a great advocate to help people get to that point.
They're actually, I might be letting something out of the bag, but there will be a bait color called the Duke.
Really? Cool.
Oh.
Yep. That's what he wanted. I mean, it'll let's be honest, it won't catch any fish, but it'll be a great writer and everything else.
There's no better human being than Ken Duke on the face.
That's our boy, man. There is no better person.
Hey, Edwin, this is a good one. How proud was he when his son caught his PB?
So that story right there, for people that don't know, my son doesn't bass fish very much. He's been with me probably 5-6 times. And fast forward, I take him down to Falcon. And the only reason he's with me is because my son-in-law and my father-in-law say, hey, let's go have a competition. And I think the winner gets to buy the other one a package of Oreo cookies. That's Cade's motivation. We are out there 30 or 45 minutes in this tournament, and the dude catches a 12-1. I've never caught a 12-pounder. I've never caught an 11-pounder on a shaky head on Falcon, got snagged up in a brush pile, gets it out, a 12-1.
Holy cow.
It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
That didn't get his juices going and he wants to go fishing again?
Not yet. He's still into Legos and dinosaurs, so...
Let's just be honest. He's beaten Dad. He's never gonna fish again.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this? I have a father-in-law, a mother-in-law, a brother-in-law, and now my son. Out of 5 people in the family, the only person I have a bigger fish in than is my wife. She's fished 3 times, and I fish for a living. My mother-in-law's caught an 11.98. My father-in-law's caught a 12.3. Terry caught a 12.2, and my son's caught a 12.1. All legitimate on scales fish.
That is awesome.
I beat my wife.
Yeah, well, don't tell anybody. Let her win.
Yeah.
In her whole life.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love to hear those kind of stories. My son swims like a fish, but but getting him out there to fish, unless he only will fish with me if we use Syncos, because he has the patience to just shake the rod and get bites, and it's always a lot of fun to take him fishing. But he has I think Thomas has got a couple 8s and 9s, but nothing over that. But
ask me what he caught it on.
What was it?
Berkeley Max Scent.
Of course.
Jeez, of course. Of course.
There's something to that stuff.
I love hearing that. Okay, Mr. Bass.
All right. One thing that I wanted to ask you is, what do you think of the old kayak craze? I know some of the pros are starting to dabble around in a little bit. What do you think about kayak fishing?
I had my very first experience this week fishing out of one. I just got one, a 133 Ascend from Bass Pro, and the first fish I caught was a monster bass, and like the second fish was even bigger. And it's crazy because you're like in the water with them.
Yeah.
It brings me back to how I started my bass fishing in that kick boat. Uh, I don't know, they're pretty cool. They're not primitive like when I was first started fishing with swim fins. I didn't have depth finders. I didn't have spot lock. Now these kayaks, they got depth finders. Heck, I had Gene, the Fluke Master Jensen, at my house. He's got the active target forward looking sonar. He's got everything, power poles on it. I mean, there's just crazy what you can put on them. But I can't wait to fish more out of mine. I had an absolute blast, and my brain goes 100 thinking of all the places I can get this boat in that I can't get my nitro into.
Absolutely. And I think the point that you made there at the beginning about you're right on the water. It's such a different feeling than being in a boat. And I love fishing in my boat, but I've really, really enjoyed kayak fishing as well.
I felt like I heard more sounds, like more fish blowing up or a little minnow taking off. I don't know if that's true or not, or just the day that I had, but I definitely felt like you could hear more.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense because if you're down closer to the water, I'm getting really technical here, but it would travel close. The closer I am to the water, the sound's going to travel more than being 8 foot above the water when you're standing on your boat.
Mm-hmm.
I got a dog here. Hold on one second. Rex, hush, come here. He's scared of his own shadow and he'll bark at anything. Sorry.
Are you fishing your pond on your property?
Oh, I do. Not the other day,
though. Oh, no. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. What did you catch the fish on when you went kayak fishing?
Frog and a buzzbait.
Frog and a buzzbait.
Yeah.
It's that time of year. Top water. Yeah. This is that time. Top water is it right now.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of, sort of. Whopper plopper kind of thing. That's what I'm kind of figuring. So I know you've done well here in Florida. I'm just going to ask a question just personally for myself now.
Okay.
Why have you don't, I want to know why we don't like Florida. Every pro angler hates Florida, it seems like.
Because when you go to Florida, it's just like this bowl. There's no depth change anywhere. It's all the same. Coming from the rest of the country, we have normal lakes that have contour lines. You have a creek channel swing, you have a point, you have rock ranges, you have outside grass lines, inside grass lines.
It's a bathtub.
The bathtub's being nice. That's a pretty deep size. That'd be a lake up north. It's a pie plate's what it is.
When you have something like that, how hard is it to figure out what the fish are doing?
Well, you just pray and hope you put the right bait on, and you try to cover as much water as you can, and they'll show themselves on that bait. Again, I feel like it's back to an area. I feel like in Florida, so many of the times you got to find that area where they're at.
At Heavy Hitters, you were in that area. You kind of went through the area and then needed to come back at Sykes Creek.
Yeah, you're right. I went way past it because when I went in there's people fishing the mouth. I'm like, I'm going to go way up past it. So I didn't want to impede on their water. And I'd been up way past it before earlier in my career and caught fish up there. There's a couple little backwater deals up there, and they weren't there when I went in there.
So I have just a story I have to tell. So day one of Heavy Hitters on Toho, we were following Edwin to take a bunch of pictures for tackle web stuff. So I don't even remember the guy's name. He threw up a drone and then started following you. And I think you caught one fish and you showed us, and then he zoomed it straight up. So in the middle of I don't even know what it was, you must have said, I wish that drone would just leave. And Marcella, who was in the boat behind you, calls me and says, whatever you do, get that drone out of here because he doesn't like it. And I'm like, this ain't even my drone. I'm on the wrong boat. I'm like a mile away from him.
Yep.
So we brought the drone back, and I was like, okay. I said to that camera guy, don't put the drone up from now on. We'll just follow him from a distance.
Way in the air. You think about what is a bass's only predator?
A bird, yes.
It is. And I'm telling you, when they get that thing 20 feet on the water, I promise you. How many bass have you caught with spikes in their, where a bird's actually hit them before,
I didn't even think of that, but I know I yelled at that guy like something else. I mean, I just took all my frustration out on him.
I'm glad you did. Thanks, buddy.
And Marcelo was pissed at me. I'm like, I'm not even doing anything, man. I'm just
an excuse. All fishermen need an excuse. That's why I didn't catch him at heavy.
It's all that guy's fault.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, when I heard you talking on another podcast about the BPT format, only 2 days of practice, and how you got to find fish fast. Mm-hmm. And it made me think, what's the secret there for guys that really don't have a lot of time to find fish? How can we find fish faster? What can you do to find fish, locate fish quickly?
One, you got to have confidence in whatever you're going to be trying to do. But for me, like in the Bass Pro Tour, if you look back through all the success, it's the high percentage areas. Cover as many high percentage areas as you can. It's not a time to go find a hidden gem. You do that when you have multiple days of practice, leading up to it, or you do that in a 30-day off limits. It's if you have 2 days on a body of water, you hit all the high points, as many of them as you can in those 2 days.
Isn't it hard, though, when you're on those practice days to not put something on and want to just fish and cast, and instead of just kind of driving around looking for points on the electronics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. But the event I won at Lake Erie, I probably didn't catch 2 fish in the whole practice, maybe 3. And Kentucky Lake, the event I won there is the same way. It's really hard to do. But when they're offshore, like those events, and they're going to be offshore, you have to find them with your electronics, because at the end of the day, I might find 10 spots by idling. If I'm fishing, I might only find 1 or 2. It just takes that long to fish and cover any water.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting close here as far as time goes. We obviously don't want to keep you all night, but this is one question we ask all of our pro anglers on here. This is a very important question. In bass fishing, does color matter?
I think
you're going to hear from the pro. We heard it last time.
I think there are certain instances that it has an effect. Yes, the clearer the water, the more of an effect it has. Let's say on a top water or a hard bait, and in dirty water, I think it's more about the hue of the color, or maybe 2 colors or a flash. So many times, you'll have a dark side and a light side to a plastic bait. But again, kind of back to that statement, if you're fishing where the fish are, it's not going to be overly important if it's green pumpkin or green pumpkin purple flake or whatever. They're going to bite it.
See?
Okay. Yeah, I think he answered it toward. I think I got the right answer that time.
I think you're full of it. I think
there is instances that it matters, and then there's instances that it doesn't. In muddy water, stained water, no, it's not a big deal. In clean, clear water, yes, I think it is.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, make sure you go to Edwin's channel, subscribe, like, follow him, do all that stuff. The YouTube channel is phenomenal, but more importantly, we need to thank his major sponsors: Bass Pro Shop, Optima Batteries, the greatest battery, by the way, on the face of the earth.
Thank you, Steve.
I've been with Optima for I don't even know how many years. I love those guys. General Tire, Lowrance, Berkeley, Mercury, Power Stop. Is it Z21? Because that's the boat.
Nitro.
Yep.
Yeah, 21 Nitro XL.
True Timber, Wiley X, Built, Andy Custom Bass Lures. By the way, how incredible after you won the Classic did that guy made millions after you won with his thing.
I did not see any of it.
What? Didn't he sell that? Didn't he sell the company after it?
Nope.
He didn't. He still did. Okay. Yeah. Andy's a good dude.
Steve, you're so funny.
CMAP, Lunacy, and most importantly, Tackle Webs clear the deck for battle.
Right on. Hey, Edwin, before you go, what's your favorite Berkeley hard bait and soft bait?
Oh, wow. I love their square bull crankbait. It's called a square bull. It's a square bill crankbait. It's, that was one of those things I was super nervous about uh, as a bait because it's such a big part of your arsenal. You just throw a square bill crankbait so much of the time throughout the year. And I love theirs. I think it's way better than anything I ever had before. I can't believe I never threw it. And then as far as their soft bait, my all-time favorite is just the Pit Boss. Skeet designed it. It's just a neat flipping bait. I got a lot of confidence in it.
Awesome. Yeah,
dude, thank you for the time. I love you. I always tell you, I love you.
I love you too, man.
Thank you so much.
Say hi to the family for me, please.
Okay, I will.
We're going to be pulling for you next year. It's going to be a great season. You're going to do amazing things.
Hey, Red Crest is at Grand.
Oh, sweet. You got that locked up then.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. By the way, let me just say, that's going to be the reason why Tackle Webs goes to Grand for the Red Crest.
You need to get them here. I called her and tell her she's got to come, and she wouldn't come.
No, I think there's been a slight change of how we're thinking, because they have been saying, I'm not saying who they are, but they're like, this Edwin has a good chance to win that Red Crest. He could bring the trophy to the booth. And now we're starting to think, maybe this is a good idea.
I tried to tell her.
Yeah, she and I talked about it on the way home today. So yes, thank you. And
everybody,
good luck.
Be sure to check out Edwin's YouTube channel. If you have not checked it out, you got to go check that thing out. Subscribe. It's a great stuff, great content.
Yeah, the best. Dude, thank you very much for the time.
Appreciate you having me on. You all have a great evening.
You too, dude. Later.
All right.
Now we got to do our graphic deal here. Sorry, folks. We're not. There we go. Bam. Well, that was fun.
Dude, how great is that guy?
He's awesome. Awesome.
I mean,
great. We forgot to talk about the pecans. Rats. I was going to bring that up.
We can have, to be honest, he'll come on anytime we want to. He's just that good of a person. I mispronounced one thing, and everyone started, and what's his name was jumping down my throat about jigs or whatever, bucktails, whatever. I got a million questions in my head. Give me a break, man. For the love of God.
It is harder to do this than it probably looks. I mean, you're going through your questions and you're going through stuff's going through your mind, and it is easy to kind of.
And let me just say, is it Caro? Caro's more. She gets more attention than we do.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. So let her have it. She's asking good questions too.
Yeah. So I think Fishing from Gramps was on here. I don't know if he's still on here. And we kind of mentioned Luke's. If you don't know, Luke Duncan does a fantastic podcast.
Yeah.
Luke kind of called out.
He called us out. Called us YouTubers out. We will never, ever be pro fishermen. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. It's never going to happen.
I would like to talk about this, to be honest. I'll be honest, I agree with Luke. Yeah, I'm with him on this.
I don't really disagree. I think the problem with any kind of a statement like this is it's just a stereotypical throw everybody in a bucket statement. And I can guarantee you there is a YouTuber out there that can and probably will someday make it in the pro fishing world. But he is, I think, if you kind of look at the Googans, that's kind of, they're the most famous fishing YouTubers out there on the planet. And we know one in particular who is fishing a pro circuit right now. Mm-hmm. And he's struggling. He
sucked.
He's having a very tough time.
He's flat out stunk. And I'm not saying I wanted to see him succeed. Rob was really nice to me when I met him. I was surprised. I actually thought he was going to come across really narcissistic and just had wanted nothing to do with anybody. But to be honest, he was very upfront and honest and nice and humble, and I was really surprised. It was really surprising to me. But I think, and I'm not speaking for Luke at all, I think it takes a different breed of person to have that competitive fire and to be able to learn and still be able to become a pro. We've had some people have seen Milliken could go pro, maybe. But when you're around pro anglers, it's a lot different than us average angler. And that's, I'm calling myself an average angler.
Yeah. I heard someone say on one of the shows this week that professional anglers who do it for a living are a different breed.
They are. The professional anglers who are successful are a different breed. There's some that attempt to be successful and they do their best. But getting to the level of Edwin Evers and Jacob Wheeler, or even just making your money back, is really, really tough.
It is. It is tough.
And it's not just only, no offense to the NPFL, those guys, a lot of those guys are not named, no-name anglers. And I'm not talking about Keith Carson and Soak Up and those guys. They've got a handful of anglers that are flat out studs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys on there that are not, and that you don't, when stuff is on the line and you need to make a check to get home, you will fish completely different than what you do on a fun day of fishing.
Absolutely. And the difference, Edwin said it at the beginning when you asked him the question about how'd you get in fishing, tournament fishing and stuff like that. And he talked about the struggle. He talked about only having $35 in his pocket. He talked about living on peanut butter and jelly. Rob Turkla started tournament fishing after he's already got millions.
Yes.
Literally millions from Guggen. So there's no financial pressure on him at all. There's no struggle really. And I can see a guy who says, I got the money. I can go buy me an RV. I can sign up for all the tournaments. I can go get me a brand new boat. I can go do this. And then when it gets hard, screw this. This isn't for me. There's no financial motivation for him to succeed or fail. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Brian wrote, so he sucked. Does that mean he came in last place on every event? He didn't come in last place, but he, in overall in the NPFL, I think he finished like 68 through 72nd in overall in Angler of the Year points. He made 2 checks all year in 6 events for NPFL, and then he also fished a bunch of opens. And I think what
he apparently walked off of a tournament or two, didn't finish as well.
Yeah,
right?
2 events he didn't. He actually was, because he didn't, in that last event, he didn't catch a fish over 2 days that was qualified to be, he probably caught a bunch of fish, but they were shorts. And he got up and just left. And it showed a lot of,
the only time I remember that happening is a couple of years ago. Who was that when those 2 guys were leading the tournament and they were fighting over, I think it was a ledge fishing tournament, and they were both kind of fighting over one spot. I think it was an FLW tournament like 3-4 years ago. And one of the guys that was actually leading just got mad, packed up, loaded up his boat and left. And he literally was leading the tournament. Do you guys remember that? Who was that?
I don't know. I know that Rob left at least one tournament early, and you fish for 3 days. I mean, you have a rough day, but you still, unfortunately, and you suck it up. I can understand, you get so mad that you're frustrated and you just get up and leave. But unfortunately, Turkla is one of, or might be the biggest draw for NPFL. Because he has millions of subscribers.
Absolutely.
And You know, he paid his money, and technically, if he doesn't want to fish, then he can get up and leave whenever he wants. But it just shows a little bit of immaturity, and it shows a lack of respect for the other anglers too. And that's where I think Luke got really upset about it. And Luke didn't really call out.
Yeah, he didn't mention his name.
But I mean, there was
we knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, and he said, and Luke said, you know, the anglers want to be YouTubers, and the YouTubers want to be professional anglers. It's like, you know, it's like doing radio. You want to be the band. You want to be in the band.
Yeah.
But the band doesn't want to do that. They want to be the radio host because they don't want all the problems that comes with it.
Yeah.
And you know, I give Luke a lot of credit for not calling him out, but at the same time,
Booster says he was having head issues, PTSD, according to Turkle's latest video.
Maybe, and if that's the case, you know,
I'll tell you what, a tournament can really rattle your cage at times. If you're doing bad, I mean, it can just wipe you out.
How many times have you went fishing, and out of nowhere you're having a bad day? You just go, okay, I'm done. After a couple hours.
Heck yeah, you're just like, oh, yeah, forget this. I'm gone.
I've done it many times.
Yeah, I have too.
But
I think taking that specific incident and then making the leap and saying no YouTuber could ever be a pro angler, not ever. I think that's a little extreme.
Yeah, because really, I've fished with some guys that I'll be honest, Booster will outfish me any day of the week. I fished with a lot of people that I think could possibly be you know, if circumstances were right and they had the right financial backing, they could become a pro angler. Now, will they be successful? I don't know, but they could do it. I mean, I fished with Brandon Card for 3 days, and Brandon said to me, you should try this. You have the fire. And I'm like, the problem with me is if I don't want to take the fun out of fishing for me. I enjoy the fun more than the competitiveness of it.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to draw the line. But
I enjoy fishing tournaments. You know, I fish tournaments every year for fun, but I'm not trying to be a pro fisherman.
Yeah.
You know, that's not on my life plan. You know, it's just not. But not everybody that fishes tournaments has a goal to be a professional fisherman.
Yeah.
And so being a pro fisherman, it is interesting. I have no doubt. I mean, there is going to be a YouTuber that does it someday and does it successfully.
And YouTube, if you start out YouTube at a young age, and you realize the growth of that you have to have, and you have the patience to have the hard times when you have the good times, because quite honestly, doing YouTube is really a pain in the ass. And you don't make a lot of money on this. I mean, really, you don't make barely anything. But if you get at it at a young age, then you have that growth time that you can do. And when you get older and you want that opportunity, or you have that opportunity, I definitely could see it.
Okay, it was that tournament I was talking about. Gregory Whitaker's put up there. It was Lambert and Haynes, and they were both on a spot together. Lambert was basically in that spot, and Haynes came up on him. And Haynes basically said, "This is my spot. I fished this. This is my spot." And Lambert was like, "Look, I'm here. I'm fishing it." And Haynes was leading the tournament, I think, at the time. And finally, they both kind of fought for position there for a little while, and then eventually he pulled up stakes, and he didn't just quit fishing there. He loaded his boat and left the tournament. And this was $120,000 or $125,000 tournament that he was leading.
Ooh.
He just packed up and left.
Yeah. Like the guy said, there's going to be a kid that grows up doing YouTube at that point. I think what Luke was saying right now, No offense to the Guggen guys. I think he was kind of saying they're not going to, what they have, they don't get into that, but you never know. I mean, I enjoyed the podcast. I think, you know, Brian, I don't agree with Guggen's brought more young anglers into the sport than maybe anybody. I don't agree with that because they do a lot of stuff that just really doesn't have anything to do with the sport. But they have brought people in the most. No, I don't think so. Bill Dance is a bigger name than the Guggen guys in the industry. And the problem that you have to remember is the Guggen kids are bringing in a group of kids that don't buy baits. They still have to rely on their parents to buy them rods and reels and all that other stuff. Their audience isn't really is a little bit younger than what you might think.
All right, so several guys have mentioned, man, your live frog pond fishing video.
Oh yeah, over there.
Yeah. So we got to talk about that because that was fairly popular.
I wish I could see the comments and see what was going on. I had a lot of. I enjoyed it.
There was one great comment that said, "Man, that muck boot and short look is awesome."
I am flat out redneck. I'm going to give you a little insight. When I go over to that pond, I don't even wear shoes. I don't bring shoes with me. I just wear my socks.
Really?
And then I just, I put them in the back of the car, hop out. And then, it was Shannon Kirby, mentioned it. He texted me and said, you do these shorts. Why don't you bring us with us? What I should have done is I didn't make the camera go horizontal, which I didn't even think of.
Oh yeah.
And I should have, because you could have seen what was going on.
Yeah.
I had fun doing it. I will say I almost slipped like twice, and it would have been priceless if I fell in the mud that was going on there.
Probably would have been.
And I didn't have that great of a day. I think I only caught 4 or 5, and I think I missed 7.
So one of the things I ask, because I'm not a Florida guy, is what about gators, man? There's no gators down there?
I'll text you on that one.
Oh, okay.
There's no gators anymore in that pond.
Okay.
We removed one. Maybe that's the best way to say it.
Okay.
I mean, we removed it. It is in another pond down the street, and I think when you come down here, you'll realize the gators you don't worry about too much when you go fishing.
Really?
You really don't. I mean, you can crack them over the head with your rod, and then they won't see you, and they won't come near you again.
Well, I did fish the Everglades a few years ago, and literally the gators were everywhere, and they came after you. They really were aggressive.
Yeah, I think the further south you get, maybe that happens a little bit more. The gators here in Central Florida, they don't. I'm more worried of that. We have in that property, we have a giant rattlesnake, and we need to get rid of it. We really need to get rid of it because it's been in a spot where the kids play, and it's probably 5.5 or 6 foot long.
Wow.
So we've been bringing, like I didn't show you, but I had the shotgun with me when I was there the other day.
Okay. I got a buddy that's a gator hunter, and his name's T. Roy Broussard, and he was on that show, Swamp People or whatever the show was called, where they went and hunted alligators. And he's a fisherman, and the way I met him was fishing an open, and he was the pro and I was the co-angler, and it was a BASS Open down at his home lake down in Texas. What's the name of that? So it's a river system right down there on the Louisiana-Texas border. But he took me back in some crazy gnarly stuff. It's back where he hunts for gators, and we had a great day of fishing. But he's the gator season just ended, and he's posted a bunch of pictures of gators that he got this year.
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't really worry about gators anymore. If I see them,
Yeah, the Sabine, you're right, Booster.
yes, he's always right. If you see them, then you're all right. I mean, a lot of times, in the places I go fish, they'll go after your topwater frogs and your topwater baits.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you'll know where they are right off the bat. In the frog pond, really more or less, I'm just worried about, now that I know that there's snapping turtles in there, I'm worried about the snapping turtles because I used to walk through there a lot in bare feet.
Oh yeah.
And that rattlesnake, and that's really it. And really, that pond has, in the last year, has really we've put a lot of forage fish. We put a lot of bluegill in there. I mean, a lot of bluegill in there. So the fish were all probably less. I told you the other day, they're probably 10 to 12 inches, and now we're seeing some 14, 15, 16-inch fish because there's a lot more to eat in there, and that's good.
That is good. No, Booster, I did not see that. That would be wild. Catch a bass, pull it up on the bank, and have a gator come and steal it from you along with your rod. That wouldn't be very fun.
I will say, when it's April, then I don't. April is like the mating season for alligators. Then you need to worry about it. And there actually is a video, if you did a YouTube search for like top 5 encounters with an alligator. There's one of them that shows the alligator coming up onto out of the water and into like this little wooded area.
Yeah.
And if you ever look it up, that gator we call Ninja, because that is where we go tarpon and snook fishing. That's where my buddy Paul McGinnis got bit, and the gator took his foot, and he got stitches all the way around and had to cross this thing, and that gator is unbelievably protective, and it will get in the water, in this tannic water, and sink down, and you'll fish, and then out of nowhere you'll look down and it'll be right there on top of you.
Oh my goodness.
And he will follow as you walk out of there. He will follow you onto land and kind of sort of charge at you.
Jeez.
And it's in a protective it's in Merritt Island. I don't want to say exactly where because it's a beautiful place to catch tarpon and snook. Beautiful place. But the first snook or the first tarpon you catch, as soon as it jumps and smacks the water, that gator comes charging after you. And we call him Ninja. And we've told the Merritt Island thing, this is an aggressive gator. He's not afraid of us. Someone's feeding him or done something. He's not. He comes after us, and they will not get rid of it because it's a wildlife refuge. Dang. And they tell us, just don't fish there. And you're like, in all honesty, you want to fish at this spot because the snook and the tarpon are everywhere. It's a beautiful place to fish. But Ninja has scared all. I mean, I'm no lie. I've caught a tarpon, brought it in, unhooked it, put it back in, and as I put it back in, that gator was within an arm length of me.
Oh man!
And you can't see him, and then you back up into the woods and start walking away, and he comes out and walks that bank at you, and then you're like,
not cool.
Shit.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. And he's bit a person too. He bit Paul McGinnis.
Yeah, you would think after it bit a person that they would do something about that, but
he was 10 foot when he bit Paul.
Wow.
He's probably pushing 12, 13 right now.
Interesting. You know, not to change subjects, but I'm going to change the subject here.
That's all right.
It's kind of funny how we ask every pro this question about does color matter, and they all pretty much say the same thing. They say, well, maybe deep water or maybe clear water, sometimes it matters, but definitely not in dark water. It doesn't matter. And a lot of times, if you find, like you said tonight, a lot of times if you find the fish, they're gonna, whatever, any color will work. But go back and look at these guys, and every last one of them talks about, while they're trying to sell their lures,
That's the key.
You've got to have this big shad.
Yes.
Color. You got to have this green gizzard shad. You got to have this root beer shad. You got to have this, on and on and on about this critical color you've got to have. And I think it's very interesting. We've pretty much asked every pro, and they've all pretty much said the same thing.
They have to be salespeople.
Of course they do. Yeah.
And you want to, you don't see, in this industry, you only get a spike in sales of a lure if that person is leading or winning. So that spike can be, like we mentioned it, that Andy Custom Bass Lures. I was under the impression, I read an article that said after Edwin won the classic, that Andy's custom lures sold like $1.5 million worth of jigs over a month, and he could not make enough of them.
That's true. He could not make them fast enough.
Yeah.
I don't know how many he sold actually, but winning that tournament, and he's still selling jigs, hair jigs, because of that tournament. And that, I don't know how many years ago that tournament was, but it was quite a while.
2016.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Years ago, that was one of the things that really interested me, because I had always thought, is it really worth having, no offense to anybody, a pro staff, a professional angler on your pro staff? Because if they don't win, there's never really a spike in your sales for lures. While they might have some, they might have sometimes where, it's never a drastic spikes. I guess that's the best way to put it. Okay. Unless they win a tournament. And really, years ago, some of these guys were making, on lure stuff, some of them were getting $50,000, $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of baits to sell. Okay,
so here's the question then. Why sponsor professional fishermen at all? Because quite frankly, look at the BPT this year. How many tournaments did they have? 8? Something like that?
6, maybe 6 or 7.
6, 7, 8. I don't know. Wheeler won at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
So you take, he's won 3. Now you're down, if there was 6, now you're down to 3 other tournaments. There's only going to be 3 other pros that win that year. Mm-hmm. You've got, how many's in the field now? Is it 100? Is it
80? I think 80. I think.
Say there's 80 in the field. That means 76 of them did not win at all this year. Mm-hmm. And you're saying without a win, you're not really going to see a spike in sales. So what's the motivation? They're not stupid marketing people. There's got to be some reason why they're hitching their wagon to the pro fishermen. I mean, Randy Blockett talks about the wrap boat. The wrap boat's one of the most amazing ways to sell product of anything out there.
Well, on the road, yes. But do you, in all honesty, think Randy is, I don't know Randy. Do you think Randy, one of his sponsorships, he's ever had a bunch of people buy a bait because he talked about it?
I don't know. I know. I'm trying to think. I know one of his sponsors he's been with Megabass for like 25 years.
But
he says he was involved in helping design the Vision 110. He talks a lot about the Vision 110. I've probably bought
I have several.
Yeah, I've bought several as well. I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to remember if I've ever bought one based on something he said
Have you other than think about some of the past winners and what they've used? Didn't you buy the Max scent after seeing all
Yeah.
these guys whoop them?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
What other lures? I mean, I'd love to know everybody else on the comments. What if you, because that guy that's in 80th place who comes up and goes, "Oh, I caught it on this bait, this hyperlastic. I don't even know what the hell this is," and he's in 80th place. Does your brain go, "Oh, well, he didn't wreck him, but that's the bait he used"?
Well,
you say an average person goes, "I'm not using. If you didn't catch him on this, I'm not buying it."
Well, years ago, when I was I'll just put it this way: when I was,
I don't even know why I don't know that bait's name.
but years ago, when I was less knowledgeable, I did have a tendency when a pro was saying, "I want him on this or want him on that," I'd say, "Oh, that looks interesting," and I'd go look at it and I might buy it. Now that I've got years under my belt, the first thing I say to myself is, okay, well, was he really throwing that bait even at all? The good thing about the cameras is you can usually tell that now, but a lot of times you can't still. So that's the first question. The second question is, he was fishing in Florida, man. That's got nothing to do with where I fish. The fishing's 180 degrees different in Florida than it is here in Missouri.
Yes.
So why would I buy that bait? Doesn't make any sense at all. So first, you got to put all the conditions and the water type and the fish type and everything together and make the decision, will that work where I fish? And then you got to go back and say, all right, yes, it will work where I fish. Is it any different than maybe he's pushing a spinnerbait. Is it any different than the other 400 spinnerbaits I already have? Will it give me an edge or give me something different than the other guys who are throwing spinnerbaits? If I can find something completely different that I think might help me, I might buy it. But I've almost gotten to the point where when they start to say, this was the magic lure that won it all for me, I just like, oh, whatever.
That's, you can like Guggen, not like Guggen, to each his own, by all means. But the Guggen soft plastics, I know they've changed them. They sucked. They might have caught fish and you saw them in the videos, but the truth is, and some people need to realize this, you can do a lot of things with Adobe Premiere to edit something to make it look better. And I'm not saying they've done that at all. But when the bait dies after one fish,
not only that,
then you've got to look at it a little bit differently.
Here's another thing you can do as well. John B. used to do it all the time. Turkle used to do it all the time. They would have one pond down behind their house that they fished every day. They knew that pond inside and out. It was loaded with fish. They could take any lure down there and catch something with it. And you would say, man, he's so good. Look how good he is. And yeah, well.
I am going to spoil a lot of people right now. The man I call Daddy, not my real dad, Bill Dance. I call him Daddy. Does not fish anything but private ponds. Every fish he's caught in the last 15 years is on a private pond that is nobody else can go fish. It is stocked. It is private. Yeah. That makes a huge difference. I've seen the Guggen guys go to one place a million times and they wreck them.
There's nothing worse than trying to create a TV show and not being able to catch fish that day,
Imagine what would have happened the other day when I did that live video, and I didn't. And all you would have heard me do was complain and bitch about me not catching fish if I didn't catch them. I go over to that frog pond. I know for a fact I'm catching fish. I know for a fact.
Right
now, and that's just how it is. Now, do I stock it? No, but it is what it is. Adobe Premiere is horrible. DaVinci Resolve 17 is way better. Maybe, but I know, no offense, fishing the Southeast, they edit the Marvel movies in Adobe Premiere. I don't know if you know that, but to each his own. But Adobe Premiere is pretty fantastic.
How about that? Mike Buca's big break on Swimbait Magazine was a Georgia DNR 10-pound shocked bass that he hung his bull shad on. That sounds like the old Mike Long snagging scandal. Oh, Bass Boxing Outdoors gave us some money. Holy cow.
Gave you money because you didn't even send me the thing so I can put this on my channel today, by the way.
I sent it to you.
No, I didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, I did.
It's all right. The only bait worth buying is the ones you know how to fish. I'm guilty of buying what everybody is, to be honest. That's a great comment.
And there's nothing wrong with it, to tell you the truth.
Confidence is everything in fishing.
Somebody
wrote on there how I don't know how to fish a jig. I know how to fish a jig. I know very well how to fish a jig. I am not successful with it. Thus, why am I going to use something I'm not successful and confident in?
Not only that, try fishing a grass-infested pond like the one you were fishing the other night with a jig. That's not very smart at all. Swim jig, maybe. But yeah.
The Buka baby bat, the Buka bullshad is one of the greatest baits on the field.
It is amazing. It's fantastic.
There is something magical about that lure that I wish, and I've tried to. I wanted to have him on the show, but he is. Do you know anything about him?
No.
He's deaf.
Oh, is he?
So he can't hear you. So.
Oh.
And here's Texan. But Steve, can you fish a robo worm? No, I can't fish a robo.
We know he can't. He can't even find a robo worm.
I don't even know where they are.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
That's one of those new high tech baits that he's never had access to. The poor guy has no access to real baits.
I have taken more grief on that robo worm than anything.
Man, you have.
I actually have some of them. I am gonna shock everyone, but I've been fishing a Ned setup lately with a robo worm.
I'm telling you, Florida would be a great place to fish a robo worm.
And
I mean, if you fish Cincos, a robo worm will flat out work in the same spot that a Cinco will.
Yeah. Well, you want to know the one thing I like about a Cinco is I like to skip it into where, where some areas that I like. So
they do make a fat robo worm.
Yeah.
The fat's still not as fat as a Cinco, but it would probably be better for skipping if you wanted to try to skip a robo worm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the robo worm fishing, I guess fishing the Southeast must use DaVinci Resolve 17 to edit his stuff.
Apparently he does, because he's really slamming
Premiere. As a person who does graphics for a living, Adobe has done things that literally change, because I use Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. I use Illustrator to redraw logos and to do logos, and Photoshop is I was certified Photoshop 25 years ago. I was one of 800 people that passed this Photoshop test. So Premiere just works right in my wheelhouse. But I use Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign all day, every day. So that's why I am a Premiere Pro person. But to each his own.
You're a Premiere Pro snob.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's just what it is.
I'm a snob about everything.
He's not going to change. He's so that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Boy, Edwin it was fun to have him on. His sound was a little low. So I'm going to have to go on post there and see if I can't bump it up somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what. Do you want to announce who we have next week officially already?
Heck yeah, why not?
Might as well. I mean, someone asked for him, didn't they?
They did. Someone asked and said, I want that guy, and you made it happen, Steve.
Wait a minute, don't tell anybody. Let's have people guess who that person is. Do we have something we can give them?
Yeah, we sure we got something we can give them.
I got something here.
I got all kinds of stuff around here.
I got a bunch of crap too.
Heck yeah. Let's see if of course, trying to find something handy and close.
I got something handy and close. Hold on.
Okay. Speaking of handy and close, I've got a couple of boxes I wanted to show you guys tonight.
Okay, so the person can either have this mystery tackle box pro that has mystery tackle box, and then it's the
pro box is a good box, man. That's about
well. This is from
$50 worth of baits.
This is from a few weeks ago, or a
Okay.
few months ago, but it also has the BioBait Strike King takeover in it.
Oh,
Or they
wow,
can have
that thing's loaded.
Bass Baits Monthly February Monster Bass March 2021. You can have either one. They both have 2 months in it.
Dude, that's kind of a hard choice right there. Those are two excellent boxes. Al Lindner, huh? Bill Dance.
So I should mention Bill Dance is going to be on here soon, but we are pre-recording that one.
Gotcha.
For sure.
So we got guesses here. We got Milliken. We got Fat Cat.
I don't even know Milliken. I know. Let me just restate that. I know of Milliken. I don't have a way to contact him, but I'd love to have him on.
David Nubus.
We just had Wheeler on a couple weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Bill Dance, Justin Royal, Rick Patrick.
No, I had that 45-minute conversation 2 Mondays ago. I'm not redoing that one.
Caro, KVD, that would be fun. Seth Fighter.
Fishing the Southeast. Come on.
Bill Dance, Kyle Welcher.
Debo. Oh, I could get you. I know Jeremy Wade. Do you want to? I could have him call.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Fishing the Southeast, Ott Defoe, Seth Fighter, Bass Geek, Bill Dance, Jeremy Wade, Debo. Nobody's guessed it yet.
I could get Black Tip H too. And John Cruz and Scott Martin. Fishing the Southeast wants to come on. So which one should they get? Should they get the Bass Bait Monthly? Where did I write that?
I thought we were gonna let them choose.
Yeah.
Tackle Junkie, Black Tip. Boy, those guys have got a massive channel. Clun, Cruz, Walters, Martin, Burley, Roland Martin. Wow, nobody's guessed it yet. Wheeler.
Had Wheeler on just a few weeks ago.
I don't know. Matthew's saying I don't know. That's a good guess. Aaron Martins, Rick Clun, Jimmy Houston, Gramps.
You and Roland Martin could talk about hunting. You want to know? I don't even know who that is. Whatever one someone
That's Chris Hill.
They get the other one.
That's Chris Hill. All right, so Chris, hilarious. You won a prize. Congratulations.
That is hilarious. Not Kyle Welcher. Kyle come on.
Neil Zaldane, Canterbury.
I don't know Canterbury. Zaldane we do know.
That would be fun. Although Gramps. trying to understand him, I would have a challenge there.
So let me just say something. I would really, really, really like to have Aaron Martins on. I'd really like, but yeah. I'm going to be brutally, brutally honest. I'm scared I'm going to get emotional because he still isn't in good health. And I don't ever want to say goodbye to Aaron.
Yeah.
And I'm scared that if we do it, that it's like saying goodbye to him, and it'll kill me, man. It'll hurt bad. You know, Aaron and I have
really sad. He's just such an amazing person and an incredible angler.
I text Aaron every week and tell him I love him. Every week I tell him I love him. So I could get Martin on from Duck Dynasty too. Martin and I are friends.
Well, nobody's guessed it yet.
Ike, no. John. We should have John Cox on.
Yeah, we really should.
We need to have John Cox on. We need to have Keith Carson on. He just won Angler of the Year for the NPFL. First inaugural season, and he's the NPFL. And he won by 1 point. I will say I didn't know he won, which really stunk because Keith is a friend. But
all right, I'm going to give you guys a couple of hints.
Yeah, give him some hints.
He's a professional angler. He's from Alabama. Okay.
Is he?
Yeah. You want to verify it and make sure?
It is 10:30. I think it might be a little Hold on, I have all of his info in my phone. Info. Yes, he is.
See, I know my anglers. Oh, Swindle. Nope, not Chris Lane. Those are all good. The Lee boys, they're definitely from Alabama.
Not Welcher, not Dustin Connell.
Polinick is from Idaho.
Yeah, Polinick is.
He is not from.
Jordan.
Speaking of Polinick, just in case anybody ever wondered, I asked him when I fished with him, Brandon, how do you pronounce your name? I hear so many different ways. How do you pronounce it? And he said, I'm glad you asked. He said, you take two names, Paula and Nick.
Yep.
Paula, Nick. That's how you pronounce my name.
Yep.
So just in case anybody ever wondered, that's how you pronounce it. Paula, Nick.
Yep. Steve Kennedy would be a good one too.
Steve Kennedy would be good too, even though he's a diehard Auburn fan, so I would have to deal with that. But so is Jordan Lee. B-Lat, you're right. B-Lat lives in Bama.
Which he fishes for the elites.
Yes, he fishes on the elites. And here's another thing. He is very
upfront.
He's very honest and upfront, and he's a power fisherman. He's a power fisherman.
He will not give you a line of BS ever. He and I have had.
It's not Gerald Swindle, by the way. There's been like 30 Gerald Swindles.
Yeah, it's not Swindle. Mark Daniels, Canterbury, no.
Mark Daniels is an Alabama guy, but come on, he's mellow. He's not a in your face, tell it like it is sort of guy. Wes Logan, Matt. Man,
I can't even help it.
I know. He got so
Matt Herron, there he is.
JJH 2613. You got it right.
Okay.
Although that's not how he spells his name, but that's good enough. Matt Herron. Herron, JJH 2613. That's who's going to be on the show next week. He is a very talented angler. He's an amazing power fisherman. He's a no-nonsense. He's going to talk about fishing and fishing only, probably. So we're going to have a lot of fishing questions for him.
Oh no, I got one question already. I can't wait to ask him about what his feelings are on MLF. That'll take a whole hour. Okay, so we need to know: does he want this box has the Pro box, and then it has the Monster Bass BioBait Strike King Takeover in this together?
Okay,
or does he want Bass? Where is it? Bass Bait Monthly for February, and then the Monster Bass for March. And if he wants me to open it up, I'll open it up and why don't I open it up and just it's already open. This has Trilene, KVD, Stanley, hooks, bacon grind, power bait, a chatterbait, a KVD jerk bait, and then there's more than there's a lot more in here. A power bait. Oh my gosh, Robo-Worm.
Robo-Worms.
It has a jig. I don't even know. It has two jigs, and then it has Santone. Oh, there's Santone jigs, and then
he wants the mystery tackle box.
After I take all that out.
All right, so Chris Hill, you get the BBM, the Bass Baits Monthly box.
I want Rick Petrie on here. I'll ask him to come on.
Yeah, we'd ask him to come on.
Hey, dude.
Oh man! Congratulations,
Does he want to know
JJ8.
what's in that? Does he want
That
me to
is,
open it?
I don't know, but that's got to be the longest question. I do questions every week on my show. That's the longest one ever.
Oh, the Strike King Takeover has. Oh yeah, this was a good one. Oh, but it has those bio baits in it too, and it does have Lunker Hunt.
All right, cool. That's a good deal. So, DM. Well, let's see. What are we gonna do? Have them send you an email since you gotta ship. You gotta send it. So here's his email address for the two winners. Send Steve an email.
Are there two?
At ffrsteve@gmail.com.
I would pay to see Steve and Rick fight. Let's just be honest. I will beat the shit out of Rick.
Oh man, he's put it out there publicly. Oh my goodness.
I gotta be like, I'm 6'5". I'm heavy. I mean, I'm joking. Let me just make that very clear.
Okay,
but
good.
It is funny.
I don't want to get kicked off here.
I mean, I only get the box for 1 more month, so I don't give a crap after 1 month.
Jeez Louise. All right, Chris and
the other person's getting this one. That made me laugh.
The JJH 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You send your contact information to Mr. Get Your Fish On, Steve Chapman at ffrsteve@gmail.com, and you will get you a prize. An amazing free prize.
I got 5 of these to give away that nobody ever claimed for the 6,000.
Oh my goodness!
You want to know what? I'll send these to you. You can give them away.
Okay. Cool. All right, I want to show you guys something that I
have no idea what's in them though.
I'm pretty excited about.
Look. Yeah, fishing the Southeast. Email me and then I'll give you my phone number.
Check this out.
What's in there?
It's a mystery. My buddy Chris Hill, the guy who just won a prize on your show, sent me these.
Oh, nice. I don't ever get stuff like that. Do you know that?
He's like the #1 contributor to the Mr. Bass channel, and he sends me amazing stuff. And I'm going to put most of that stuff in the cans, in the prize cans. But he did tell me there's a couple of really sweet special things in there just for me, so I got to get them out first.
Nice.
And
Caro, if you send me your address, I'll send one of those boxes to you. One of those. I don't even know what's in those. I'll be brutally honest. I don't even know what's in those little boxes. They were made so many months ago that I started writing things down, and they probably have Thunderhawk lures in them, though. I bet.
Thunderhawk. That's nothing to be upset about. That's awesome. Thunderhawk makes some good stuff.
Center the biggest.
All right, one. I think we're getting close here.
Yeah. Good job again. What do you have coming up? I know what you have coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Arguably the biggest unboxing of all time on your channel.
Yeah, that's right. Gonna be unboxing some amazing lures tomorrow night. Gotta check it out. It's a premiere, so I'm gonna be on there typing away if you guys want to chit chat about it. It's a long video. It's like 35 minutes long.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at you.
I rarely do more than say 10 to 12 minutes tops, but 35 minutes of swim baits.
Now, is it
wild? Pretty wild.
What is the most expensive swim bait?
The most expensive swim bait.
How much was it?
On the planet? Or
no, in the unboxing.
$299.99.
Holy God. So here's my question. Are you going to use it to first off?
Absolutely.
You are?
Yes.
Have you Have you seen how it acts in the water? I mean, what made you decide to buy it?
Yes. Well, it's a proven fish catcher. I have seen it in action. It
Okay.
happens to be the lure that I was talking to Edwin about today that Brandon Polinick was throwing.
Oh, okay.
So I absolutely know it works. The only difference about this one, and the reason it's so expensive, is because it's the Roman made negotiators, what it is. I'll let the cat out of the bag. And here's one right here. This is a normal one.
Okay, so wait a minute. You have more than one of these?
Yeah, I do have more than one of these. But here's what's different about this
Do you
one.
sleep on the sofa?
Yeah, I do. I'm in trouble a lot.
Where is Heather? Where is she when I need her?
Where is she?
Heather, there's a link to come on live.
All right, this bait here is not nearly as expensive, even though it's the same lure. There's one difference. This one is handmade from Japan, hand painted, carved out of wood. It's a wooden bait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it's beautifully. They put this stuff on it, this coating on it, to give it a nice shine and to make it durable. However, the one that's in the video is a new process where it's the same wood, it's the same handcrafting, but it's wrapped in leather.
You bought the leather lure?
No, not that leather. That leather lure is like $1,500.
They have it on sale for $479. I saw.
Oh, do they? Huh?
Because they didn't sell any at $1,000. Because only crazy people bought it for $1,000.
That's interesting. You can get that thing for $400.
I think I saw it for $479 on Tackle Warehouse.
All right, I'm going to show you this just because it is amazing how beautiful this thing is. The craftsmanship of this lure is absolutely amazing. Here's another thing that a lot of people don't understand.
Oh, it's a beautiful lure. But $299?
Yeah. But here's what a lot of people do not understand about.
Does that come with a Band-Aid?
It comes with spare hooks.
It needs to do something else for $299.
Here's what people don't get about big glide baits that aren't kind of in this world. Big glide baits, they're one of the.
Tell them things are a deal.
Quit telling them things are a deal. All right, here's what you need to know about glide baits that so many people don't get. And I could be wrong about this because at some point the market
doesn't even have hooks.
It doesn't even have hooks. At some point the market could turn. But these things are some of the best investments there are on the planet.
Have you ever heard of Amazon stock?
Yeah, I have heard of Amazon stock. Amazon stock's gone through the roof. Anyway, these baits hold their value like you would not believe. I can take any one of these baits hanging here on the wall and I can get my money back out like that. And not only that, depending upon the color and the type, you can make big money on these lures. Take this one, for example, right here. This one is one that Matthew talks about a lot, the Clash 9. There went one. If you're lucky enough to find a Clash 9 and buy it retail, which is about $100, it's a little more than $100.
Mm-hmm.
You can double your money on this immediately. That's how sought after they are. I could put this on eBay right now for $200, and it costs a little over $100.
You can go to the grocery store and buy a scratch-off card and quadruple your money too.
Well, you can, maybe.
Well,
this is real money. This is a commodity in my hand that I can actually sell. Try selling that lottery ticket. Try selling it.
Do it. eBay right now. Put it in an auction. It would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing.
I'm not telling anyone that I or anyone else should buy a bait as an investment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. But what I am saying is there's a
It sure as hell better catch the biggest damn fish in the pond.
There's a whole lot of ways to waste money out there, and you'll never get a dime back from it.
Yeah.
You know, so why not buy something you really enjoy that could catch you a fish of a lifetime, and you can actually sell. It's a win-win-win. It's like 3 wins in a row.
But you might, I mean, to be honest, just so everyone knows, on Saturday night, I'm going to have an intervention for Mr. Bass on my channel live. I'm joking. I am not. But I'm looking forward to your video tomorrow.
It should be a good video. I think guys will like it.
Yeah. 35 minutes. That's a big one, too.
That's a long video.
Yeah. I like that. That helps the channel.
Booster, but you will never sell it.
You won't sell it.
My wife, Birkin bags appreciate and value also. And she should know. She should know. Yeah.
How many bags did she get after you made this video?
You know, she's not into that anymore. But you know,
Okay,
she's
good.
gone through phases where she's bought a lot of bags or something like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
She's
he maxed out the credit card on that tackle warehouse thing. So I mean,
right now she's spending lots of money on her creative talent. She's an amazing artist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she is. She has really, really just blown me away on how good she is. And she does. She spends a lot of money on that. It's very fulfilling for her, and she's very good at it.
That's good. I like to hear that. Creative people. Yeah. I like creative people.
Yeah, she's super creative. Always has been.
So you have that, and then what's the next? We should start to get some boxes here, shouldn't we?
Oh yeah. I got a ton of boxes. My monthly boxes starting to show up. At least they've all said they've shipped, and I'm getting a new one. The one I told you guys I ordered, the Hendrix or the Henderson or the, what do they call that stupid thing? I don't know. Can't even remember what it's called. But I got a new one coming. Hendrix. It's Hendrix.
I have my last Monster Bass box this month that said it was shipped.
Cool.
And I think Bass Baits Monthly said they shipped mine too.
I posted a video today of the 10,000 fish fishing kit. Oh, that's a pretty cool fishing kit. I like fishing kits. I've got these Missile Baits fishing kits that I bought and did videos on. Those are pretty cool. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun thing if you're into, like, they've got a pond fishing kit, Tokyo rig kit, flipping kit, pond fishing kit, and these are kind of fun sometimes.
We should ask John to come on the show.
We ought to. And so the 10,000 fish, I got that 10,000 fish kit, and I really like it. I like a lot of the stuff in that box. The only thing I don't think I'm sold on, I really think might be frog fur. I don't know yet because I haven't fished with it, is that cycle bait. Have you seen that cycle bait?
So I don't think I've put the closer look video up yet. I don't even know. Hold on. Maybe I have.
The thing, I wish I had one handy. The thing that I'm still scratching my head about on that is take a regular spinner bait. Like I got one right here.
Oh no, I did put the closer look of that one up. Yeah, I did.
Okay, Caro, I don't know how you're helping me here, telling my wife that you fish and don't spend money. That doesn't help me. Come on now. All right, here's your willow leaf blade.
Yes.
All spinner baits have these blades on them, and they've got a swivel. And this swivel, your blade turns 360 degrees when it moves through the water.
That one does not.
What one does not?
That one I think goes around and then goes back the other way.
The cycle bait, doesn't do that. It's got like 3 links of chain.
Yeah.
Looks like a chain link. So there's no way it can spin completely around. So how, I mean, what they say is that it gives it a much more erratic action in the
It
water.
does. The bait will do this in the water more.
Okay, see, I haven't tested that yet, and that's why I'm kind of wondering: is that legit or is it just marketing? I don't know, but I'm going to try it, and then I'll know.
I got rid of that bait.
You what?
I got rid of that bait.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So you didn't think it was worth it, or
I didn't think that. I didn't think it made that big of a difference compared to other spinnerbaits that I know worked really well. And really, one of the things I have a big flaw in is that I want my spinnerbait to always be vertical. I don't want it to go on the side like the Bass Hick one does. I want it to be
okay. Well, their solution for that though is that the arm is not stiffly attached to the head of the bait. It's also on a swivel.
Yes.
So that in theory, your bait is not going to flip side to side, even though the blade will.
It does. It does that in the water. It's a weird situation. Like I said, when I throw a spinnerbait, the first cast is I'm just focused, like tunnel focused, on how that bait is reacting in the water. Because if it starts to go to the side, I'm instantly cutting that thing off. In the case of that bait, it does this, and I was worried that the bass might go after it, and because it's doing this at the same time, it might miss it. So that was another reason why I kind of was like, I'm not. It didn't hit it for me. That's all.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got Justin's thing. So Justin, I got your email. Oh my God, Justin, you're right here in Orlando. Like you're right around the corner. Not really, but kind of. I'm in Apopka. So and then
I've got that 10,000 fish video out today, and then the swim bait video out tomorrow, and then the next day I've got my Lucky Tackle Box unboxing, and the next day I've got Biospawn Essentials Kit unboxing.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the next one is. Now I got to look. Yeah, I didn't make it a premiere, but I think it's another chase baits.
Gotcha.
So, Caro, if you want to email me, I will send you a box. And Fishing the Southeast, make sure you email me, and I'll give you my phone number. And really, I have 4 other boxes. So if 4 other people want them, then they can have them before you get them. But I don't know what's in them. So could be, I know there's something in them. So, okay, well, that's good. We're way over our time now.
Uh-oh. Gotta go.
Next week, Matt Herron.
They're going to turn the lights out on us. Matt Herron next Wednesday night. Be sure to think about any questions you'd like to ask him on the live stream. Just keep in mind, he's a power fisherman. He's a crankbait fisherman. He's a shallow water guy is what he is.
He's a good dude.
You'll
really like him because he's really brutally honest.
He's been on the elites for a long time, and I don't know if he was invited on the major league. He probably wasn't, but
he was invited.
He was invited. Turned it down.
Yeah.
Boy,
he and I had a conversation about that lasted 2 hours.
Yeah. He's got opinions about it. And unlike many people, he's willing to share the opinions if you ask. So that's great. That's always a fun time.
Yeah, he is not worried about who he offends. And I like that.
Right on. All right. Good night, everybody. Be sure our 2 winners to email Steve Chapman with your info, and then he'll get you your stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Close us out, Steve.
Take your kid fishing, get your fish on, and
happy fishing.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.